they will not take effect, and if you exit, they definitely won't take effect. Especially, I mean, you need to write them, and then and only then. This is a security feature in order to prevent accidental partition deletion. Believe it or not, that sort of a thing actually happens in the real world too. So let's type in, it says command M for help. I mean, it's waiting for a command, and then it says M for help. Well, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go ahead and press M, and we get a download of options. And if we go ahead and press X, it says expert command, and if we type in M again, then we get even more options. That's a lot. Well, maybe not that many, but still quite a good deal. So let's go ahead and use some of them in order to actually go ahead and create a new partition table. So what do we got here? Let's see. P, print the partition table. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Non-existent. That's not something that we want. Do we have any other options? Oh, by the way, if you want to quit, just use Q, and it's going to quit without saving changes, which means it will quit without applying them in the first place. Do we have, just give me a moment, a list known partition types. Let's have a look. A lot of them here. There's a good deal of them, but that is good because you can read pretty much anything with a Linux system. More or less anything. It's unbelievable. While on Windows you can just read a few of them, on a Linux Linux understands pretty much any sort of disk, whatever format you use to write onto the disk, whether it's XFS or whether it's ext4 or whether it's NTFS or something of a kind. Linux will recognize it, and even if you don't see some of the options here, I do believe that they can be installed additionally, if I'm not mistaken. They can definitely be installed additionally, but I'm just not sure if all of them are here now at this point of time. Oh well, that was a miraculous thing that I did there. Let's go ahead and type in N for new. And now we are prompted. It says, would you like to create a primary partition, or would you like to create an extended partition? You can only create 4 primary partitions per disk, so you go ahead and create primary partitions first, and then you create the secondary ones. Simple, yes? But you always, how should I put this? You always want to max out your primary partitions on a disk before you go into secondary ones. So you don't want like 1 primary partition and then 3 secondary ones, 3 extended ones, sorry. What you want is 4 primary partitions. If you have a need for multiple partitions per disk, make sure that you always go primary, 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 and then you move on into extended. Anyway, let's go ahead and press P for primary, and the default is P as well. Partition number. This is partition number 1, I guess, so we will use the default 1. Press enter. I didn't actually need to type in 1 there. I could have just pressed enter, but hey, it doesn't really matter. Here, it says here first sector, and it says default 2048. I'll just press enter, and it says using default. Now this part here is a bit more interesting. Let me just go ahead and expand the screen so you can see it a little bit better. The command is not that long, but the menu behind it is. Anyway, it says last sector plus sectors or, which is far more useful. This is for the definition of the size of this partition. You just type in plus, and how big would you like your disk to be? Well, how much space did I assign? 10 gigs. Excellent. So I'll say 5G, and I will press enter. That is literally all that I needed to do. It's over. it's done. I have created it. Now I would like to do something else. I would like to print the partition table. Oh, guess what? Now SDB1 exists. Let's see, we will need to use this option, of course, before we exit. If we don't use the W option before we exit, all of our work will be in vain, for nothing, and we will most likely tear the hair out of our heads and then rage, and then come back, and then do it again. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. So, to change display, change partition. Create a new empty sun disk label. Nah, I don't really need that. Add a new partition, print this menu. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete the partition. Delete the partition. So how would we do that? We would type in D. Partition 1 is deleted because there is only one partition. Okay, so let's go ahead and create two partitions and see what happens there. So new primary default 1, this is all good. Let's say plus 5G. This is okay. That one has been created. Let's go ahead and create another one. So P for primary, partition number, don't really care, you just use the default. First sector, yes, use the default one. Last sector, so we will type in plus 5 as well. Oh, let's say that this one will be plus 10. This is the partition that is the man, and I will create one more because I will need it for later on, most likely. The default is 3, no problems. Notice how the numbers go from 1 to 4 and then they increase. So it was from 1 to 4, it was from 2 to 4, and now it's from 3 to 4. Just a bit of detail there for you in the background. Oh, I messed this one up. Doesn't really matter. I will delete it anyway because I didn't specify the size at the end. But I just need it to basically delete it. So I press D and see what it is asking me now. It says, hey, which partition would you like to delete? Well, I don't know. Let's go ahead and try with a 3 since I messed it up anyway. And it says partition 3 has been deleted. So give me the partition table. And there you go. Now we have exactly two partitions here. It says SDB1 and SDB2. After all this effort and after all that we have done, we have only created partitions. We didn't actually format anything. We didn't do anything. We didn't apply any changes. We've just set the field for writing changes to disk. What shall we do? Let's write it. Careful. Once you press write, you cannot undo. So if you're writing and if you're in the middle of the process, if you press Ctrl C, that will not help you. That will pretty much almost guaranteed to make things worse. So let's go ahead and press enter. Partition table has been altered. To reread partition tables, okay, so no need to actually go through any of that at the moment. That's a function up there with the brackets, not the brackets, the parentheses. Okay, so we no longer need fdisk. We no longer need to be inside of fdisk. Let's go ahead and clear and type in fdisk-l dev STB. Thank you. So now you can see that dev STB has partitions indeed, like dev SDA. They both have partitions. STB is not being booted from, so it doesn't have that. Doesn't have this asterisk as you see it here. And now in the next tutorial I will show you how to format partitions, and that's really what I meant when I said when you interrupt it won't really help you. This is what I'm referring to during the formatting procedure. When you actually assign a file system to a partition, when you format it in accordance with that file system, if you interrupt it during the middle of that process or something of a kind, you will do more damage than good, believe me.